the city manager, that says the mayor or council president or another councilor sets the agenda for the meetings. And maybe that's maybe that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Is have a resolution.
Is that over the voice of the people?
And this is what I found too. There's always a shift. There's always a change. In one meeting, something is said, and you go to another meeting, and something else is said. And I think Mr. Baker, for good reason, has a right to distrust meeting with the mayor, because now he's not sure what the mayor's going to say after those meetings. So.
Get off it.
He's paid to speak.
Okay,
No, he's not
is
paid.
this, you have an action here, it's resolution number 12 dash,
About citizen
I know
comments.
it's finished.
oh, okay.
No, all I said that there is some distrust, and Mr. Baker needs to be allowed to do his job without fear of
Yes.
things being said that were not said.
Yes.
So what I see here is a resolution amending council rules. Okay, that is a major change in council rules to do in a resolution.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Ramus, is that a major change?
a resolution?
Well, you adopted the rules by resolution, so you would amend them by resolution. The
Exactly.
process that you want to use is purely up to you all.
Yes.
We talked about this at the last meeting.
Right, and we brought this up at the work session the other night, and my suggestion was to change 2.3.1 under council rules to the mayor or the council president with the input of the city manager shall establish the agenda for the council meetings.
There you go.
I want to, before we go further, I want to in the council rules, I want to set a public hearing for this. It says the mayor independently or with council can set a public hearing. So I want to change this to, if we look in the council rules, and let's go to 2.5.1.
No,
Yes, let's go to 2.5.1. We're going to make it to have it a public hearing.
So could I make a statement before you do that?
please, Barb, weigh in.
Is there such a thing as the manager and the mayor taking where we are right now and then coming together and proceed and not talk about this anymore and just be done with it?
That's what we're trying to, that's what we're trying to do Thursday. That's what we're trying to do.
I can do that. We can get on with it. With them.
Each or whatever it is that happened, and kind of just go from here. And just not talk about it one iota at a time.
What about
Mr.
citizen
Baker,
comments?
I can do that, and I can do that, and I can speak positively of you in front of you. And
What about citizen comments on the issue? Yeah.
He wants to come.
correct.
If citizen comments on the issue could also be refrained and forget about it for now. I wish there was a way.
No.
There's
Let the
only
people
two.
speak.
There's only two, and we do need to let citizen comment. So while we hear from the citizens, Mr. Baker, if you could give that some consideration that we can work together. The first person here, let me see, number one would be Bill Wehr. Yeah, we are discussing this, and people want to discuss this part of it too, some citizen input.
Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, I can go to the bottom of the stack. I know there's people that have been waiting here a long time, and if they want to speak first.
We have to talk about this now and keep it in order, so Mr. Bill. And then on deck is Chris Haas, and those are the only two people that talk.
Mayor, I had one on there too.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about, we have two people on this issue, and then there's going to be a lot more public testimony afterwards, okay? So come on up here, Bill. right now. And then, Chris, you're on deck. Is Chris Haas here?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
wouldn't miss it.
Well, good evening, councilors. My name is Bill Wehr, Damascus. Last year, just in time for the Christmas season, Damascus citizens were treated to the horrible spectacle of Councilor Helm and Jackman's failed attempt to kick Goodwill Industries out of the mall. This year, just in time for Halloween, this council is treating us to another spectacle. We will be voting whether to strip Mayor Spinnett from his official duty to communicate with the city manager. Included in this will be appointing Council President Diana Helm in this capacity to set the council agenda each week with the city manager. Now, if I'm correct, this is still on, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the decision makers, first of all, we have Councilor Jackman, who's running for mayor against Mayor Spinnett. We have Councilor Westcott, who's running against Mayor Spinnett. She's also a major advertiser in the Sunrise Times, which is an anti-Spinnett, anti-Damascus newspaper.
She is really.
It is. And it's distributed by mail to each household in Damascus. Last year, she voted to censor the mayor. Then we have Councilor Shannon. Earlier in the year, he entered the motion that was passed to censor the mayor from writing in the city newspaper until this December. Mr. Shannon is the one who at the recent work session aired on camera the investigation of Mrs. Spinnett when Mr. Spinnett was assured his wife would be accorded the same legal privacy any citizen would enjoy. He later made a nasty crack at the next city council meeting saying, who does Cindy Spinnett think she is, Nancy Reagan? And then he went on to talk about how Mrs. Spinnett was harassing staff. Then we get to Diana Helm. She'll be in the position of appointing herself. What I heard, she lost to Mayor Spinnett in the last election. She led the charge last year to censor the mayor. She's a supporter and financial contributor to the Westcott campaign for mayor, and she's a supporter of the slate running for councilors against the Damascus slate.
And proud of it, thank you very much.
She's also advertising the Sunrise Times. Now,
Northwest
so,
Connection.
The Northwest Connection won't let me, right?
so here we are. I mean, this is amazing. You're going to vote to strip the mayor of his power. This is like a political coup. The only two councilors up there that are fit to make the vote would be Barb Ledbury and Marlo Dean. They're both not running. So, but then we'd have a problem with a quorum. So I think we're really in a bind here. Thank you.
How many councilors were elected by the citizens of Damascus?
Chris Haas, your turn.
All of them.
Thanks, Bill.
Interesting.
And the mayors, how many votes?
Exactly.
So is the mayor.
How many votes? How many votes? Oh, it's for the camera. How many votes?
I would like the police officers to be in the room for security and removal of people for any future outbreaks. I don't know where they are.
They're afraid of Chris.
The guy out of Damascus.
Go ahead, Chris.
Mr. Spinnett, it seems that whenever I think you've reached rock bottom, you can feel compelled to grab a pick and shovel and start digging. I don't know exactly what happened to your wife at City Hall on September 4th, but I do wonder why she is there multiple times week after week. Whatever occurred, the mature, rational thing for you to have done would have been to wait to see what the investigation revealed. It should be noted that your wife was not accused of a crime. She was asked to cooperate with an investigation. By delaying giving her phone to the police as requested, you've now allowed speculation to grow as to what exactly was done with the phone during those 2 weeks. As I'm sure you found when you discussed the issue with Mr. Horridson, taking pictures, deleting them, and then repeating the process can override iPhone memory. I'm also sure he told you, as he did when I spoke to him, that software is available will wipe a hard drive clean so that it appears to contain nothing. Given the time delay between the request for the phone and the provision of it, the matter of what might have been done with any pictures on the phone will always remain. None of this would have mattered had you just waited for the investigation to reach its natural conclusion. Instead, as is so often the case with you, you decided to up the ante. You first posted your accusations of the city manager concocting a political smear campaign on the Ask Damascus Facebook page. That was bad enough. If you care to make yourself liable for a claim of libel, defamation of character, and harm to a man's professional reputation, as an American, you have the right to do any damn fool thing you so choose. The real bonehead maneuver came when you decided to read your allegations into the public record while performing your official duties as mayor. That ill-considered stunt not only added slander to your list of liabilities, it placed the citizens of Damascus squarely on the hook for a share of that liability. While I'm sure your sycophantic supporters will not mind, I do. Unless your flock is willing to stand good for any liability that accrues to the city of Damascus, you have left the rest of us holding a bag none of us asked for. Unless you can prove your allegations with actual proof, not blustery statements, this city is left with no defense should Mr. Baker do what the situation requires and sue to regain his good name. Do you have any proof? At the last council meeting, Councilor Helm asked you that question. Your reply was that you thought your statement was very clear. I hate to break this to you, but I can make a very clear statement about having taught a pig to fly. But I'm pretty sure unless I have some proof, most people won't believe me. You will have to prove that Mr. Baker took this job, moved his family here, took off his coat, hung it up, arranged his family pictures on his desk, and before he even figured out where the executive washroom was, he commenced fomenting a conspiracy against you. As ridiculous as that sounds, that is exactly what you allege. Can you prove it? Unless you can, you should do the right thing. Retract your accusations, apologize to Mr. Baker, and hope that he is a more reasonable, mature man than you. Otherwise, you have left this city on the hook with our little heinies hanging out, ready to take the liability spanking that you've lined up for us. And personally, I don't think that's such a great idea. I didn't make the statements, you did. It would be really, really nice if you were the one that got paid for the problem that you created. You could have just waited for the investigation to end.
Thank you, Chris. I want to go back into 2.5.1. Public hearings will be held as required by relevant law. In addition, the mayor, independently or with the input of the council or staff, may set public hearings on other matters on the council agenda. I want to set, before there's any change, because I think things can get worked out. I mean, from my perspective. No decision made, or should be made. I'm going to evoke my authority to set a public hearing on that at a later date. I have not come up with that date yet.
Well, I guess that's the next work session.
Yeah, not quite.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where we're at on that. I also have, at that point, I think we have more public
I have a
testimony.
motion to make. I move that if we're going to do a public hearing, is that, first off, my question is point of order, is that the interpretation of that section that you would give it?
Well, there are two relevant sections. One is the authority of the mayor to set public hearings, which he does have. Then there's the provision that says the council can suspend the rule for 24 hours on public position. We've got both of those. We've got the authority and countervailing authority. If the council is comfortable with it, if you can operate by consensus, then I would encourage that. And if the consensus is to have a hearing on it, then I think that's what we should do.
So I move to suspend the rule regarding the mayor's ability to set public hearings. And let's begin.
Oh, stop it!
We need to be over past this. We got some work to do.
Thanks. Okay.
We have a motion.
I wanna read a little bit more. Can we go to
You want to address?
the 24-hour suspension area on the council rules? Do you know
Yes.
which?
Yes,
one that is?
that's in 6.1.
Okay, it says though,
Public testimony, guy.
we're getting there, we're almost done. We gotta get there.
Beat this horse to the point that it's.
I know, permanent amendments to the council rules shall be made by adoption of a new resolution. Okay, that's not it, but.
You've got these two provisions. One is a permanent amendment, which would require adoption of resolution, and then you've got these 24-hour suspensions, which are by majority vote.
And the purpose is you just want to drag this on? Is that the purpose?
No, I want to make sure that I'm seeing it on the council rules. I have a lot of information here, it just takes a while, okay?
Will we be able to do the late hour, suspend the executive session, or do we have to have that session tonight? Do we have to have a work session next week?
You don't have to have that tonight. You can have
Is
it
there an
anytime.
urgency
It's
to
not
have the
urgent.
content?
So while you're
Can I
looking,
make a motion that we move to push off the executive session until the work session on Thursday and cancel for tonight, so that when we're done with this discussion, we can move to adjourn?
Could I suggest that we handle one motion at a time? This
Okay,
process.
all right, I'm just trying to get consensus, consensus. Is that okay to get consensus or not? Probably not, huh? Okay, all right.
so
It'd
while,
be easier for everybody to follow.
while he's looking, can I just make a brief statement about a book that I found that was kind of, takes it away from where I'm at right now, but it's written by somebody in Damascus. When I started to read it, I couldn't set it down until I finished because it was such a good one. Anyway, it's Senseless Confidential, and there mentions different places around here that are tied in, and it's very, very good. So anyway,
Who's the author?
it's Martin Bannon.
Is he a resident?
That, yes, yes.
Can you write a book review for the paper?
I'm not a book review writer, but it was a really excellent book.
Yeah, I'll call the question unless there's any discussion.
Well, we're waiting for him to find something.
Yeah, okay.
You gotta get this book. It's, I'll loan it to somebody if they want to read it.
Make a night.
Yeah, I know. Very good.
I'll call the question unless there's any discussion.
Okay. Do we have a call the question? We have a motion and a second.
Would you clarify exactly what we're doing?
Yeah.
We need to suspend the rule, giving the mayor to force us to a public hearing
Over
over this issue of,
Say it again.
let me flip to the,
The what?
the motion is to suspend Rule 2.5.1 for 24 hours. That rule states public hearings will be held as required by relevant law. In addition, the mayor independently or with input of the council staff may set public hearings on other matters on council agenda.
So by saying yes, what happens then?
That means we get to deal with this issue about setting our future agendas here tonight. We can deal with it, and we're not dragging this out for another 2 weeks.
No.
I'll call the question.
Why would we want to drag this out?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
No.
I'm just gonna play dumb and say I abstain because I don't really understand what and why we're doing what we're doing.
It's, you understand, it's to limit my ability to set the agenda.
No.
It restricts me on setting the agenda.
It's to suspend the rules is what
We're suspending the rules, that's correct. It's suspending the public hearing rule that I have. the authority that I have. It's taking it away. Well, my vote's no, but that motion passes.
So we have a resolution on the table, and then the council rules. 2.3.1. The city manager the ability to continue on with his job, and it doesn't have to be me. It can be any other person on council, so long as we have some communication going on between council and city manager.
So if instead, if there were a way that the mayor could apologize and the manager could,
He won't, Barb. He won't, he can't, he won't. I don't know what the problem is. He refuses to.
You already did, lady.
You already did. You
He said that the
listening?
other night.
he did partially, he did partially tonight.
He did partially.
And we're just maybe,
Okay, well, this doesn't strip the mayor. All this does is it says mayor or council.
He still facilitates the meetings. You still do the meetings.
Just so you can work together.
I made a motion to approve resolution number 12-blank. There's no one on here. Mr. Rings.
Do we know what?
That's
I just wish that people could all work together, and if each one can say they'll be different in the future.
I'll second the motion.
I'm not gonna do it, Barb.
Oh, Counselor Dean.
I'll vote yes.
Jackie.
I don't find that I'm able to understand how it's discerned whether or not the mayor or the council president will be the individual. I mean, I just don't understand how it's going to go. So because of that, I have to vote no.
Well, basically, great.
And, Counselor Ledbetter?
I just think there are other ways to go, that you two can work together somehow. And if you could kind of do a little more apologizing, just a little bit, for some of the statements that you made and the manner in which you made them. But I would think there'd be a way you could work together. And in order, for the sake of our city, I think that we need to have you two work together. So maybe could somebody meet with you and him somehow together?
We have to vote.
We can meet privately, absolutely.
With a third party?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. People have been standing for a long time, so we probably need to vote.
I'm not going to say one way or the other. I'm not asking you.
said yes.
That's right. I'd
Yes.
rather see these two working together than
And I
I'd worry
vote
about
no.
going one way or the other.
Okay, so that vote, that resolution, is there a resolution number that we talked about? Do we have the resolution number?
06-96.
Okay.
No.
And then real quickly, if you'll allow me this before you go on, I promise to take 30 seconds.